place like that, completely incapable of dealing with it, which is why Texas had to step up and do something about it. But as the chief executive officer of a government like the state of Texas, I can tell you it's one thing for the leader of that state or leader of that government to say, this is what we're going to do, let's go do it. It takes more to actually have the people who are going to step into it and get it done. The point is this. It's great to have a president, for the first time ever, to insist on a secure border. But it takes more than a president who demands that. It takes the right personnel to execute it. And if you had to go into a lab and design the right person to secure the border, that person would be Tom Homan. This is a guy who's so responsible for achieving that success. But listen, what we have today is a partnership. This time last year, we were still dealing with people coming across the border illegally. And as soon as the election took place, and definitely on January the 20th of this year, it changed overnight. A lot of people can quickly forget what we had to do under the Biden administration that let in well over 10 million people. And a problem with the more than 10 million people who've come across the border is some of the dangerous people. You know, someone who was arrested, I think you guys were involved in the arrest, they arrested a guy who was a sniper from Iran just a few weeks ago. There are known criminals, known murderers, known rapists, as well as known terrorists that have come across our border where we do not know who they are or where they are. But we somehow have to be able to find them before they cause some cataclysmic problem in whatever community. But because of what we were dealing with the volume coming across the border, that's exactly why Texas is the only state in the history of the country to build our own border wall, to deploy the National Guard to the border, to have so many National Guard on the border that we built 2 military bases on the border to house all the Border Patrol officers that we had down there. And to put that razor wire into the river, to make the arrests we made, to pass another law, Senate Bill 4, last session, to make sure that we would have the power to make those arrests, is just incalculable what we had to go through. Now, we still have the National Guard on the border. We still have Texas Department of Public Safety involved. But instead of having to act in a way hostile to our own country, we're now partners with a very effective federal government. The National Guard have been deputized by the Border Patrol to be Border Patrol agents on the border, to be able to make the apprehensions, the detentions, and be involved in the deportation process. The Texas Department of Public Safety is working hand in hand with ICE to assist ICE on their operations in the state of Texas. And we as a state are supporting what the Trump administration is doing. As a result, we are able to take resources that had been deployed to our own border strategies and instead apply those resources in a way that are supportive of the best president in the history of America at securing our border. So it's a new day in the state of Texas, and it's because of President Trump and Tom Homan that we have that new day.
Well, first of all, I want to, and you're not finished. I sat over there and watched you sign a bill, a game changer, 287G. Thank you, Sheriff. This is a game changer for us. 287G is a very important program. So, again, adding consequences for those who want to violate laws are huge. Look, I'm not going to take credit for anything because the men and women were in that green uniform. The men and women, the ICE, they're out there every day. Like I said, I always say, 3 o'clock this morning, I was laying in my hotel room bed, and there's Border Patrol agents standing on a dirt trail someplace defending this nation. So the men and women of the Border Patrol, the men and women of ICE, the finest 1% this country's got, because you're a law enforcement officer like you all. You all are the finest 1% this nation has because you put your lives on the line every day for this nation. I know you don't make a lot of money, but you're out there putting your lives on the line, so aren't your deputies. So God bless you, and God bless you for signing that 287G. That's a game changer for the state of Texas. I actually got a little excited over there watching you sign it. So I don't smile often, I smile there, so I appreciate that.
So a little bit of a follow-up there. So how is the work of the federal government and the Trump administration, has that allowed you to focus on other critical public safety needs in the state of Texas?
Well, because we do have a federal government that is actually securing the border, because we have people like Homan and ICE that are getting these dangerous people off the streets and enforcing the consequences that Tom Homan is talking about. It allows us, for one, to deploy our officers, DPS officers, as well as our National Guard in ways that support the efforts of the federal government. We're a force multiplier for them. Whenever they go into a danger zone, we're going to be there to assist them in that danger zone. They got a job to do. And we have to have the law enforcement who will have their back, provide a protective shield around them, and assist them in any way we can, because we have a collective mission. And that is to ensure that anybody who is here illegally, especially those here illegally who are criminals, that we get them off the streets as fast as we possibly can. And that goes to the core of what we all want to achieve, and that's to have safer communities. And so we're able to now use our resources that focus on those safer communities, but also get our DPS officers who were doing overtime, working on the border. They were taking time away from communities in Amarillo and Wichita Falls and Waco and elsewhere. They're now able to spend more time back in their own communities, making sure those communities are safe, as well as to patrol the highways like they had before. We've dealt a whole lot together. I mean, Sheriff Boyd is a quintessential example. He's not on the border, but he was dealing with the consequences of an open border as much as any other sheriff in the state of Texas because of cartel activity or gang activity or trafficking activity coming through his county. I know the same is true for many of the other sheriffs in the room also. And we are now there able to assist you in your local community, provide support for you all in your local community, whereas in the past we had to have those officers dedicated to denying illegal entry into the state of Texas.
Thank you, Governor. Tom, we've seen several jurisdictions push back against your enforcement of federal immigration laws. Cities like Los Angeles and New York have pledged to thwart your efforts to round up dangerous criminals and prevent the administration from enforcing the laws. How are you going to combat these efforts?
Well, yeah, they're saying they're going to push back and prevent us from doing our job. Well, good luck with that, because President Trump is committed on sanctuary cities. We're going to double down, we're going to triple down on sanctuary cities. They're not going to stop us from doing what we're doing. So we're going to give sanctuary cities exactly what they don't want. More agents in the communities, more worksite enforcement. We're going to flood the zone with ICE officers. For instance, Texas, with this new bill. Florida. I mean, we got states where the sheriffs are actually working with us. So we can send additional resources to problem areas where we know they're releasing public safety threats to the street every day. So that's where we're going to send extra resources. President Trump said it 3 weeks ago. We're going to flood the zone of sanctuary cities, not because they're blue, because they're releasing public safety threats back in the community, which is just plain stupid. And we know it causes a public safety crisis. And people ask, well, what is the issue of sanctuary cities? The sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. We don't want law enforcement to be immigration officers. We just want cops to work with cops. We want access to the jail where they lock somebody up that's in the country illegally. But they release them back in the community. We got to send a whole team to find them. It makes it harder, makes it less efficient. So guess what? We're going to send a hell of a lot more teams to sanctuary cities. We're going to focus and prioritize sanctuary cities. That's the right thing to do because we know that's a public safety crisis. And for the left and some back there, the TV cameras, are going to report that what we're doing is inhumane. I saw a couple television shows this morning from a hotel room. Now, let me make something clear. People are attacking ICE for doing what we're doing right now. Why is there a mass deportation operation? Because we just went for 4 years of massive illegal immigration on the border, where 10.5 million people came to the border. The Biden administration released them into the United States, in my opinion, illegally. They abused the parole statute. We know, based on immigration court data from the last 10 years, nearly 9 out of 10 people who claim asylum end up with an order of removal because they're not escaping fear and persecution from their home government because of race, religion, political affiliation. They're coming for a better life, and I get that, but it's not asylum. They're asylum cheaters. So 9 out of 10 people who said, I demand due process, I demand the right to claim asylum, I demand the right to see a judge, okay. But when that judge said you're going to be removed, which 9 out of 10, we're going to remove you. Because due process don't mean shit if the final decision of the court isn't handed out. That's just a stone cold fact. And for the media reporting, well, ICE is arresting a lot of non-criminals. They don't understand that many of these non-criminals who were arrested have final orders removal. So they had due process at great taxpayer expense. They were order removed, but they ignored the order and became a fugitive. So yeah, we're looking for them too. And we're going to execute those orders and remove them. Because if we don't do that, if we send a message to the whole world, it's okay to enter the country illegally. It's a crime, but don't worry about it. You can make a request to see a judge. If you lose your case, don't worry about it. We're not looking for you. No. We're sending the message to the whole world. We're a nation of laws. We'll give you due process. But in that due process, if you're ordered home, you're going home. So with all the fake media stories out there about ISIS arresting all these non-criminals, first of all, they're in the country illegally. If you're in the country illegally, you are not off the table. We prioritize the worst first. That makes sense. But it doesn't mean you prioritize this group. Everybody else is good to go. That's the message we can't send the whole world. We'll never fix this problem. Now we got the strongest president in my lifetime who's simply enforcing the law. We're not making this up. Everybody wants to talk to attack ICE for being, the Nazi and the Gestapo. They're not making this up. They're enforcing the laws Congress enacted. They're executing orders issued by a federal judge. That is what they're doing. And we're not going to be ashamed of doing it. In the attack on ICE officers up over 700%. They're not only they being doxxed, their wives are being doxxed, or their spouses, their children are being doxxed. I've never seen in my lifetime a situation where people think it's okay to attack a federal law enforcement officer and his family. So the ones who enforce the law are the bad guys. The ones who violate law are the victims. It's just incredible. People have lost their minds. But there's one thing that won't change. ICE isn't going away. Border Patrol's not going away. Tom Homan isn't going away. We're going to get this done without apology. It's going to go done.
Thank you. Governor, you have a long and successful record of working